These sweet and innocent kids have turned into real monsters, posing a threat to everyone around them. Let's find out why in this review of the movie Johnny Mad Dog. The events unfold in the early 21st century Liberia. A group of armed bandits burst into a home. Just looking at them, you realize they should be in school, not committing crimes. But instead of holding pens or pencils, they wield guns and act brazenly. Calling themselves rebels, they loot the residents, take all their food and electronics, and search the village for government soldiers. However, there are no soldiers here. They force everyone onto the street, make them sit on the ground, strip down and hand over all their jewelry. These young criminals are also looking for money and children. Money because they need to pay for their weapons and ammo. Children because their gang needs reinforcements. These kids are dressed in bizarre outfits, motorcycle helmet, fairy wings and so on. But one of them wants to stand out. Ignoring the screams and gunfire, he finds a wedding dress in the house and tries it on. The adults insist there are no children in the village, but the bandits find a boy. They give him a gun and present him with a grim choice. Either he kills his own father, or they'll kill him. The guy shouts that this is an initiation ritual they've all been through. Terrified, the young boy pulls the trigger. With songs and dances, the criminal gang moves on to the next village, taking their unfortunate new recruit with them. Leading them is a 15-year-old boy named Johnny, nicknamed Mad Dog. He seems completely self-assured. Clearly, this is not his first year of robbing and tormenting people. Meanwhile, we meet our second protagonist, a young girl named Laokole. She learns from the news that the criminal gang is just 12 miles away from her city. The government claims the situation is under control, but she remains uneasy. It's worth noting that these teens didn't just become bandits on a whim. They have an adult mentor, a general nicknamed Never Die. His battle cry puts these kids into a real combat trance. The general's motto is simple: if you don't want your life to end, don't be born. He personally assigns Mad Dog a mission to capture a television station. The next day, the gang of criminals attacks the station, firing grenade launchers and creating utter chaos. The station employees try to escape, but the bullets are faster. Mad Dog and his lieutenant, nicknamed No Good Advice, captures a journalist. They call her a doggo woman. It's clear they have a disdain for the doggos. Their goal is to overthrow the doggo president, claiming that peace will reign once it's done. The captured journalist had been reporting on the crimes of this gang. We see that all of it is true, but Johnny insists it's all lies. The journalist is a beautiful woman. Johnny decides to handle her differently, throwing her to the ground and punishing her his way. A younger gang member joins in. Meanwhile, Laokole is studying. Her disabled father is watching the news while her brother sleeps soundly. These are the last moments of their peaceful life. The criminal gang moves through another village and stops at a checkpoint. They call themselves the Merchants of Death, Devils, or Dogs of War. General Never Die tells the boys that capturing the TV station was a great look. The government used it to spread propaganda and lies about them. Now, their next objective is to take the entire city. Their goal is to drive out the doggos, overthrow the president, and free their people. Spotting an attractive girl in the village, Johnny Mad Dog invites her to join the squad. It is not an offer that she can easily refuse. At night, an initiation ceremony into the rebels takes place. The younger kids are washed, marked with crosses, and told to open their hearts to the revolution. They're promised that once the president is overthrown, they'll get lots of money and return to their families. The general is very persuasive. He easily manipulates the young bandits. Then he fires off several rounds from his gun. They are blanks, but the boys don't know that. The general announces that they are now bulletproof. In the eyes of the gang, this makes him almost omnipotent. Morning comes. The criminal gang bursts into the city and blows up a bridge. The squad races forward, firing their guns indiscriminately. Laokole wakes up to the explosions. Mad Dog's gang is destroying her city. She hides valuable items, wakes her brother, and looks for a cart to transport transport her father. The man knows that he will slow them down, so he locks the door, urging the children to leave without him and save themselves. The brother and sister join a crowd of other city residents who are forced to leave their homes. Meanwhile, the gang of criminals deals with the townspeople and takes their pickup truck. Spotting a man with a pig, No Good Advice declares him a thief. He attacks the man and takes the pig. It seems the gang can accuse anyone of anything and nothing will happen to them. Laocola and her brother wander through the empty city. They cross paths with the gang, but luckily they manage to hide and the gang doesn't notice Laocola. Initially, they search through houses and find new weapons. Then they encounter a boy with a basket of lemons. Influenced by the general's brainwashing, the gang acts entirely irrationally. They see the boy as either a foreign spy, a government soldier, or a hated member of the ethnic group they're targeting. The boy tries to run away, but he has no chance. The gang loads into the pickup trucks, preparing to leave, when Mad Dog discovers Laocola and her brother. Something very strange happens next. Instead of calling his friends over, Johnny silently walks away. Laocola is given a second chance to escape. She hides her brother in a barrel and goes back for her wounded father. Loading him onto a cart, she returns for her brother, only to find that he's gone and the barrel overturned. Stubbornly, Laocola searches everywhere for her brother before taking her father to a safer part of the city where soldiers and medics are stationed. Meanwhile, Johnny Mad Dog's gang faces difficulties. Bullets whiz past them. One of the rebels falls to the ground, apparently hit by a sniper's bullet. All gang members take cover, leaving only a young boy in a pink shirt they'd recently abducted from a village. In his hands is a wooden gun. Within seconds, a bullet finds him too. No Good Advice spots the sniper in one of the abandoned buildings, and the gang takes him out. They say farewell to the village boy, singing a vulgar song over his body about things they don't have and likely never will, like a family, a wife, and a son. The second wounded guy is still alive. The gang heads to a hospital and encounters real soldiers for the first time. Johnny doesn't act as bravely as he did against defenseless elderly people, women and children. He threatens the soldiers, but they won't let him into the hospital. Johnny simply hands the wounded comrade over to the medics. Laocola is in the same hospital, and the doctor assures her that her father will recover. Meanwhile, Johnny Mad Dog's gang growls hungrily. They decide to prepare a hearty meal from the stolen pig. No Good Advice didn't care about people, but suddenly feels compassion for the pig. He doesn't want his property to be butchered, but no one cares about his opinion. Johnny calls the general for reinforcements. The general promises him an imminent victory and hangs up. No Good Advice sits by the sea, mourning his loss. That foolish pig was the only thing he had. Meanwhile, the pig is being eaten. Laocola roams the city hoping to find her brother, but her search yields no result. Johnny approaches the girl he recently recruited into his gang. He can't remember her name and tells her she'll now be called Lovelita. Johnny lets her fire his gun and talks about the amulets on his neck. The beads and crosses supposedly protect him from bullets. Johnny demands that one of his comrades gives up his wedding dress for the girl. Johnny and Lovelita spend the night together. At dawn, a column of the peacekeepers leaves the city. The local population will no longer have anyone to protect them. The revolution is in full swing. Bandits come to loot and torment civilians. Laocola's cart is stolen, and she pleads with a stranger on a tricycle to carry her father. She gives away her last money for this and runs behind him, carrying a suitcase on her head. Johnny Mad Dog's gang wreaks havoc in the hospital. No one alive remains, just abandoned bodies. There's also an old man reading a book, completely ignoring the gang. However, his life too soon comes to an end. Laocola's father can't withstand the difficult journey. She asks some passerby to unload his body onto the side of the road. There, she digs a grave and reads a prayer. Johnny Mad Dog's gang passes by her, now indifferent to the girl. After saying goodbye to her father, she walks away to the sound of gunfire. Johnny's gang heads to a new town. There, Johnny robs another family. He's infuriated by the couple who are clearly wealthy, educated and in love with each other. To assert his authority, Johnny forces the couple to undress and engage in activities that are definitely not suitable for children to see. The young freedom fighters continue to rob new homes. While the gang revels in their audacity, Laocolle makes her way through the jungle to a neighboring village. A coup takes place. Militants burn portraits and effigies of the president. Johnny decides to have some fun with an unfamiliar girl, but then Lovelita shows up in a wedding dress. She's furious. Johnny is now her man. A scandal erupts, gunfire starts, and the girl's life comes to an end. Though it seems Johnny Mad Dog couldn't care less about Lovelita, he suddenly shows a tender side. He weeps over Lovelita's body as if he truly loved her. In the morning, Johnny finds the general. He announces that he's no longer a rebel general, but a government officer. Moreover, he's now the bodyguard of the new president. The revolution has succeeded. Neither Johnny nor his friends are of any use to the general anymore. They've been used. No one plans to pay them the promised money. Realizing this, Johnny walks away in silence. The only thing he knows is warfare, but the war is over, and now he has no idea how to live on. Meanwhile, Laocolle is now searching for her brother. Instead, she finds a little girl who has lost her parents. Laocolle takes her along. Now, she has someone to care for once again. Suddenly, she spots Johnny Mad Dog in a crowd. Laocolle recognizes him as the guy who once let her go. After the revolution, the promised peace never arrives. The country is awash in military lawlessness. People fight for food. In this chaos, Johnny chases Laocolle into an empty shack. There, he tries to talk to her. Johnny has lost everything he had. A purpose in life, Lovelita, even his position under the general known as Never Die. He thinks Laocolle could replace Lovelita for him. But Laocolle is not impressed by his clumsy attempts at courtship. What's more, she accuses Johnny Mad Dog of something he didn't do. She believes he took her brother. Johnny tries to win her over with gifts, a necklace and a book. But Laocolle wants nothing to do with him. She's smarter, better educated, and unlike the naive young man, she has a purpose in life, the little girl she needs to take care of. Laocolle states that even if Johnny uses her, it won't be love. When Johnny finally tries to kiss her, she breaks free, grabs his rifle, and starts beating him with the butt of the weapon. Just like that, Johnny Mad Dog goes from being the hunter to the hunted. He used to distrust people, and now people distrust him. He used to inflict pain, and now pain is being inflicted upon him. He used to take lives, and now he's staring down the barrel of a gun. The film cuts off at this moment. What do you think? Did Laocolle pull the trigger or not? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. This has been the Movie Cat. I'll see you next time.